So thanks to the Genshin Impact 2.0 livestream, we have been blessed with a whole lot of really interesting INAZUMA information. And with that, there is of course a whole lot to talk about and cover, but with this video we will specifically be going over the new artifact sets that we will be able to acquire. And these are some pretty interesting sets at that. Hello kings, queens, and majesties, welcome to Whalestat. I am Slice of Otaku. When it comes to making the most out of our various characters and their potential, artifacts are all too important. The benefits they provide no doubt stand to elevate or hinder certain characters and can take a character or team from decent or passable to amazing. So suffice to say, they are worth caring about. And as we now know, INAZUMA intends to bring to us two brand new artifact sets, Shimanos' Reminiscence and Emblem of Severed Fate. And with these two sets, you're gonna wanna know what you're really dealing with here because they specifically apply to a certain niche or type of character, respectfully. And so we will first begin with Shimanos' Reminiscence, whose benefits read as such. In regards to its 2-piece bonus, we have an attack increase of 18%. What you may notice to be identical to that of the Gladiator's finale. And with this being a domain obtained set, if your intentions are to reap the 2-piece benefits of the Gladiator set, this may be the new best way, which is very nice. But from there we have our 4-piece bonus, which is far less straightforward in terms of quantifying its use. Quote, when casting an elemental skill, if the character has 15 or more energy, they lose 15 energy, and normal, charged, and plunging attack damage is increased by 50% for 10 seconds. Which is to say that the benefits of this artifact set come at a cost, which by default makes this a very different sort of artifact, as no others do anything like it. And this isn't just some simple expense, this is something that can utterly change how you use a character, as it will be a whole lot harder to accumulate the energy for one's elemental burst. However, for many, the ends may very well justify the means, as that 50% increase to normal, charge, and plunging attack damage can be ridiculous in the right hands. Again, this is a set that will make elemental bursts a whole lot more scarce, but if you don't have much need for your burst, you are looking at a pretty incredible buff. So yeah, this is no doubt a main DPS artifact that should be placed on characters with underwhelming and or negligible elemental bursts. Now, if you remember our early coverage of Yoimiya, you may recall that her elemental burst is one that more so benefits the rest of the team than herself, as it is not something that she can directly benefit from, something that I was certainly questioning. So if you're looking to use her as a main DPS that remains on the field for longer, this set will do you wonders. And when it comes to yet another really strong bow user by the name of Ganyu, this set is also fantastic. So much so that I would argue it stands to rival the Wanderer set for her best in slot. As if Ganyu needed any more power, as compared to Wanderers, this is an additional 15% damage to those oh so powerful charged attacks. And perhaps you may be thinking that with Wanderer's effect being constant, it'll be more reliable. Well, the cooldown for Ganyu's skill is exactly 10 seconds, so it might as well be a 100% uptime. Truly, the only reason to go Wanderers at this point would be for the sake of reactions, considering the 2-piece benefit of an increase to elemental mastery by 80 points. And as is the case with many characters in relation to these sets, we will just need to see how they perform in practice to truly determine their worth. But beyond these two, this is to me yet another excuse to go DPS Kazuha, which I am a big fan of personally. His burst is pretty amazing, but that skill of his is also really strong, with a cooldown of 6 seconds for a press and 9 seconds for a hold, so again, 100% uptime. The Kazuha stock just keeps on rising, and you do not need C6 to go DPS Kazuha. But yeah, this set can be good on a whole lot of main DPS characters depending on the sort of teams you intend to run them with. Right now, I am thinking Ayaka, Keqing, Child, and even Klee would be worth testing as well. I'd also argue Hu Tao, but I'm not so sure. She is somewhat similar in her role to Yoimiya, but that reliance on low health makes her burst have a different sort of value. You could alternatively bring a dedicated healer for her to stay alive, but that may require an especially methodical touch, as you may not want to heal her too much or too quickly. And at that point, I'd have to wonder if it's even worth all that trouble. But lastly, with this artifact set, I want to consider our dear friend Xiao. Now, Xiao is a character I really like, but one that sometimes feels a bit neglected. The benefits of this set could potentially power him up a whole lot, but the negative of it, that reduction to your burst uptime, hurts real bad. Zhao could really use that buff to his damage, but he is still a character super dependent on his elemental burst, so he is in a pretty odd position with this one. And so with that, the necessity of a battery on such a team is major. If you can manage to generate enough particles, he will be great, but otherwise, he is dead in the water. Oh, and in terms of uptime, the cooldown of his skill is also 10 seconds, and he gets 2 of them at C0, so yeah, constant. This will probably be a bit tricky, but hopefully it all works out in practice. But that's about it for Shimanos' Reminiscence, so let us move on to Emblem of Severed Fate. When it comes to its 2-piece bonus, we have an increase to elemental recharge by 20%. Something that we have only ever had access to on 3 or 4-piece sets like Scholar or the Exile, so great stuff there. But as for the 4-piece bonus, quote, increases elemental burst damage by 25% of energy recharge. A maximum of 75% damage increase can be obtained in this way. And let me tell you right now, the sort of characters that benefit from this are pretty much the complete opposite of the ones just before. This is something you will most definitely want to run on your burst supports. And listen, for a character like Mona, who receives a hydro damage bonus equal to 20% of her energy recharge, this is the greatest thing ever. I am putting this on Beidou as soon as I possibly can. I am putting this on Xiangling as soon as I possibly can. Zhongli nukes are about to be absolutely disgusting. Electro Traveler will be really good as well. Oh, and Xingqiu, I mean, come on. This is just absurd. Pair this with these sacrificial weapons and you go from a battery to a power plant. And you know what the actual best thing about all this is? We are dealing with a universal artifact set. Odds are you're gonna want pretty much the same artifact stats for many of the supports to wield this to fulfill this role, because energy recharge investment is necessary here to make use of that full 75%. So that means from team to team, if you get some good rolls, you can mix and match and place them on whatever supports you currently have in use. Talk about fuel efficiency. This set is going to be so good. But there you have it guys, the 2 new artifact sets coming to us with update 2.0 of Genshin Impact. In the comments, let us know which of the 2 you are more excited to possess and who you plan to give them to. And if you found this video to be helpful or informative at all, we would really appreciate you subscribing to Whalestat with notifications on. I have been your host, Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.